All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging out with us. It is a Thursday, March 2nd. We are Sports Take. Let's hit that like button if we could, friends. We do appreciate that. Derek Barrett and Rob hanging out with you. Let's talk a little Eagles here, guys. Now, we know, and this was a sort of a foregone conclusion, that Brian Johnson was going to get the gig as the offensive coordinator. That much we know. Now, here's what else we know. They could lose Isaac Seumalo. They could lose Miles Sanders. Boston Scott's also a free agent, and that should be put in there because he is a contributor. That's for sure. But other than that, there aren't a whole lot of players of consequence, in my opinion, that could walk on the offensive side. They're in pretty good shape there with guys coming back. So here's the question I have, guys. If you look at the offense last year, they were third in points, third in total yards, ninth in passing, fifth in rushing. Jalen has career years, 3,700 passing, 22 passing TDs, 6 interceptions, completed 67%, a 101.6 passer rating. He ran for 760 and 11 touchdowns. 2 1,000-yard receivers, a 1,000-yard rusher. And they were third, by the way, in the red zone in scoring at 68%. That's the third best clip in football. In your estimation, any idea what kind of tweaks, anything that excuse me.
Right?
Yeah. I think I just pulled a muscle. Any kind of tweaks or anything?
Well, the groin muscle.
That came on quick. That sneeze. Any kind of twist or tweaks that Brian Johnson will put on this offense in your estimation, and what areas in your estimation do they need to get better at? Because this was a darn good offensive team last year.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a third receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I need more production out of third receiver. I need an alternative, not just a tight end, but I need an alternative to that third wide receiver. This offense would be unstoppable. We already know how good they are in running the ball. They'll be able to run the ball even better, with what they see, because they found a weapon towards the end of the season that they didn't use before in Kenneth Gainwell. He became a much better player, a much better weapon in that offense the latter half of the year, the latter quarter of the year. So I believe that running game will still be good enough to, keep going in that direction. They're going to need somebody to come in and be that bruising back, you know what I'm saying? Because what they got with Miles Sanders was a bruiser and a guy that could catch. So he was a dual purpose back, but I think they found their weapon in Kenneth Gainwell. If they get another guy, even if they keep Boston Scott, bring him back, I think those two as a tandem could, still feel pretty good going into the season with them. They just need one more guy to be that, that pounder, that grinder. But that third wide receiver is a must, because you can't continue to, teams will figure out a way to bracket and roll coverage to those two. They'll figure out a way. You need that third receiver when you do have to go and get the ball down the field. You're going to need somebody that can do that. A deep threat, a take the top off type of receiver.
I agree with you, first of all. And they didn't get nearly enough. It was an occasional home run out of Watkins and not much else. It was
that's it. You know what? That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
A home run wide receiver. Now I say that's the third receiver because it was Quez.
Yeah.
So they need that home run wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Gunner?
Gainwell's a better pass catcher than Miles Sanders, first of all, coming out of the backfield. We know there's going to be some additions. If the Eagles went into 2023 with exactly the personnel they have right now, and I do agree they need to upgrade and get a third receiver. But let's say they added nobody. Let's say they lost Seumalo. Let's say they came back with Quez and Pascal. This offense, as it is right now, under Brian Johnson, will still accidentally score 27 points a game.
Yeah.
Because the offense is that efficient. So that's a great thing, because not many teams can say that. Right. Other than maybe a Kansas City or Cincinnati or Buffalo. Right. They'll accidentally score 27. So that's a major part of your problem in today's offensive-minded football. But they do need to get an upgrade. I mean, you got one of the best top 3 tight ends in the game. You got 2 of the best wide receivers in the game. You have, according to the voters, the second best quarterback in the game in Jalen Hurts. And so you're in a fabulous position in that regard. But they're going to have to address. I think Gainwell's even harder runner than Miles was. Gainwell is the guy, put your foot in the ground, turn up the field, and go.
Explosive, yep.
Explosive. And I think he breaks tackles a lot better than Miles Sanders does. You can find another Miles Sanders in the draft. You can find another Miles Sanders.
Dang.
Running back. No, and I love, but don't get me wrong, because I've told you guys time and time again, when we talk about what type of running backs that we like, I grew up in an era of Gale Sayers and then Barry Sanders. I always loved the shiftier running backs, the dudes that can make you miss. Those are my kind of backs. A lot of people like the Derrick Henrys and backs like that. So when I say you can find another Miles Sanders, that's not a knock against Miles Sanders. Okay. I have the utmost respect for his game, but the Miles Sanders are dime a dozen. That's why the price is driven down so much on running backs in the National Football League, because you can find those kind of backs out there. Okay. So they're going to find somebody, whether it's low tier, whether it's a middle to late round draft pick. You look at a guy like Pacheco. How did he sit on the board 7 rounds before somebody picked him up? Look at what he brought to the equation for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's shifty. He's strong. For a guy his size, the way he breaks tackles, are you kidding me? This dude runs angry. He runs to me a lot like a Deebo Samuels, like somebody stole the most prized possession from him, and he's making everybody pay for it. That's the kind of, you can find those kind of backs. They're out there. So I as much as it might hurt on the surface to lose a Miles Sanders, they'll find them. They'll find somebody.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I don't think it's going to be. I know there are people that are saying, "Man, Bijan Robinson has a chance to be just such a great running back." I agree with that he has unbelievable ability. I just don't. This is just the way the Eagles look at things, and I kind of view it this way as well. You can get a running back who's really good, maybe not Bijan Robinson good, but really good later, like the Chiefs got Pacheco, or you can get it in free agency where it's not costing you a ton, or you're not investing draft capital in them. I'd rather go that route. I'd rather help strengthen this defense. I would rather help strengthen another area than using a resource like that on a running back that high.
Even at 30?
Yeah, even at 30.
Yeah, I would say even at 30.
I don't even want to dip into that pool till the 3rd round, Barrett, max.
Well, I've been looking at a bunch of mock drafts, and everybody has. I've seen 3 people have Bijan Robinson at 30. I'm thinking differently. Also, if you were asked me if they were going to stand pat at 10 and 30, I want one of the 3 cornerbacks at 10, and number 30, I want a edge rusher, meaning it could be a linebacker-esque type of guy, or it could be a 3-4 end who lines up with a tackle type of guy. I want either one of those picks to have those guys at that pick. So, and now we know Desai's going to be the defensive coordinator. He's the defensive coordinator now. They're going to need another guy opposite Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick will be a TJ Watt for this Eagles defense. But TJ Watt is good because the guy on the other side is also good. And whoever's on the other side has to be able to get there and eat also. Yep.
Yeah, I agree, Barrett. I agree. I think the D tackle spot and the edge rusher spot is so critical, man. And I'm concerned about Jordan Davis. I'm
not concerned about him now. I'm not concerned about that though.
I'm a little bit.
I think Jordan Davis.
I'm not worried yet.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. There's no need to worry. To me, there's no need to worry about him. I think he'll take care of business. He'll become that explosive guy we need, the explosive guy we saw. Now, expectations are we're not going to. Now, if people think that he's going to be a Aaron Donald type of player, no, he's not that guy. But if you want him to be a guy that I've seen at the nose guard position, a Casey Hampton, a guy like that, a space grabber, a guy that could collapse the pocket. He ain't going to get a lot of sacks, but he's going to collapse the pocket, push the pocket back. And that he's taller than Casey. He's more explosive than Casey. But Casey was a Pro Bowler. Casey was a damn good nose guard. We need a guy like that more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, and just back to the offense real quick. One thing to keep in mind, which I don't think we do enough when we have these kind of discussions. I agree you need a third receiver, and running back, you're going to have to get somebody else in here too. But let's take into account how much better the quarterback's going to be in his fourth year, right? How much better the receivers are going to be with him. Like Devontae Smith, I think, is still getting better. I think there's room for A.J. Brown to get better. I think there's room for Dallas Goedert to get better. All of those guys. Landon Dickerson's going to get better.
Yep.
As a player. So I think there's room for growth there too, where they can just be that much better. And you're not turning it over to a new coach with a new system. You're just going to tweak what worked and what didn't work.
I think you're right. I think the mindset's going to change from what we had last year. From a team standpoint, we're going to have to outscore people. We're going to have to come a Kansas City type of team.
Yeah.
Like it or not, they won their games from scoring a lot. Defensively, I don't know if we can do. I know we're not going to be able to duplicate the 70 sacks like we did this last year.
Yeah, you're kidding yourself if you think it's going to be that way again.
We don't have the personnel to do that. Number one,
because that offense is so loaded. What's wrong with getting much younger on defense? I would load up on defense with my first 3 or 4 picks. Mm-hmm. I would load up on defense. Teams do it. Dallas,
you have to. We have. I believe we have more depth on the offensive side of the ball.
Yes.
Than we have the defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely.
But we, and also, and I want to tell people this also. We do have some salary cap room for next year, even though we're going to pay our quarterback, because we're paying our quarterback an extension. He's still going to play the last half, the last year on that deal. He'll just have a signing bonus that'll be applied to it. He won't. All that money won't be, allocated for this next year coming up. Mm-hmm. He'll play for that rookie deal, but he'll play with a signing bonus. And then the year after that, 2024, is when the major money kicks in and his deal kicks in. Right. So that's the difference. That's a difference between what people are thinking. Just because we're playing the quarterback, we're not going to get the ramifications of him making this big money contract until next year. Same thing happened with Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he still played under that 1 year. He played under that 1 year with the deal going, and the salary cap didn't take effect until that next year.
Well, I think the other good thing offensively is, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, maybe I'm missing one, but Steichen obviously left, but it feels like the staff is going to be pretty much intact, right? I mean, guys are just sort of moving up.
We talked about, yes.
Yeah, Alex Tanney and those guys are just moving up into different positions. So your continuity is a big deal.
Absolutely.
And to have almost the entire staff back, is one of the great advantages you have here with keeping Brian Johnson.
I really lost it. I thought they were going to lose that offensive line coach. I mean, the assistant offensive line coach, but they kept him here. I thought one of those guys would have taken him with them.
Right.
I mean, he's been a professor at Stoutland U for the past 5 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's still here. So
he's got a master's from Stoutland U.
Right. So, I mean, to me, that's a bonus that he's still here. The offensive coordinator, he said he took a class to learn how to, do charts for the defense to, run stunts against him. He took a class to make sure that, what was his name? I forget. He's the quarterback coach now. Rob, you should know who that is.
Who is it? Was it Tanney who got moved up to?
I think so.
Quarterback's coach?
Tanney's the QB coach.
Yeah, it's Tanney. He took a class in order for him to get, when he was just an assistant. I mean, not an assistant, but almost like a GA there, to figure out how to go in and make those charts so they can show that, the defense blitzing, all that stuff for the cards for the scout team to run against the offense. Mm-hmm. Tell me that's not big time, bro.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? That's big time.
No question. Look, and also you still have Nick there.
Yes.
You have an offensive-minded head coach who's in on every single meeting, who's in on every single install, who has say in the play calling. So you're not losing that much, man. And you have a quarterback who's driven, who's a self-starter, who's not a guy who is coach dependent completely. He's a guy who's doing his own thing. I mean that in a positive way. I don't mean like he's veering off of the game plan. I mean, you don't need to be holding his hand 24/7.
Well, he sets the tone. Yeah, he sets the tone for the team. Yeah. When your quarterback sets the tone for the team and your head coach looks for him for inspiration on how to conduct himself during game time situations, not get too high, not to get too low,
right?
With that calming effect on the team, you got virtually the same offense out there. The only thing they're going to do, they're going to get better because they're running the same system. The third year they're running the same system under Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
he's only going to get better for that in that system.
See, for years we talked about how New England wrote the blueprint on how to put together a team. They would get rid of draft picks and get existing players that have already been established. They didn't really care about developing them players. I think Kansas City is the new model in terms of how to build a team. You give a quarterback, first of all, you have to have the quarterback. They do.
Right.
You give him a boatload of money, and then look at how they trickle down and bring in decent players, not the best players at the positions. They went out and got 3 marginal receivers to make up for the loss of Tyreek Hill. Didn't have to pay him a boatload of money to bring him in. They paid all 3 of them less than what Tyreek got going down to Miami.
Right.
If you think about it. You think about they built the offensive line. They have supporting role players as running backs, but they found the right complements to each other. Mm-hmm. And then you have the premier tight end. So how many players, and you got, if you think about how many stars they have on that Kansas City team, it's the quarterback, it's the tight end, it's the middle linebacker. The middle linebacker is on a rookie contract.
Right.
Okay. The only real expensive player you have on that defensive side of the ball is Jones. Think about it. So you're paying four players big money, and you filled in the gaps with decent role players, and it worked like a charm for that team. Mm-hmm. But you have to be able to pick well. Kansas City did.
Yeah.
And the Eagles can do the same thing. If they follow that blueprint, the last 2 draft picks, and the Eagles are in a better position because they have redshirt freshmen basically waiting in the wings already.
Yeah, you're right. But that is the one thing, though, if you think about it, guys. I think Howie's strengths are trades for the most part, free agent signings, obviously managing the cap. Draft is up and down. Now, in fairness, every team, you can look at almost every team and see whiffs here and there in big spots. But it is up and down. And they have lost a lot of people in the front office. They've had a lot of turnover lately. What I'm building up to here is they got to be really good in this draft. This draft's got to be hits.
Yeah, they got to play. Guys that got to play. But one thing I don't believe in the chat is saying that Davis is going to be a bust. Davis, he's fat. He can't move.
Come on, man.
Hold on. Now, the one thing for sure, one thing for certain. That big son bitch can run. That big son bitch can move. He can play once he gets his legs underneath him. I'm just letting y'all know. And y'all saying that right now, but
what does he need to get to?
Well, he just. What'd you say?
Hip size.
He gonna go out. They gonna get that big son bitch pimp size, and everybody gonna be like, "Ooh, whoa, look at him. He pimp size now." He gonna be taking things over. He will be a monster in the middle. Now, he's not going to get sacks. You usually don't get sacks from the inside, especially not from a zero nose.
Yeah, Hargrave's production was an exception in terms of sacks.
He was a 3 technique.
Right, true.
This guy's going to be a true nose in the size system.
Yep.
A true nose is somebody that lines up head up over that center. So when you do that, that means both guards are uncovered. So you're going to get a double team every single time. Mm-hmm. Can he fight through that? Like I said, Casey Hampton, he could do that. Casey could do it. Saragusa, he could do that. Sam Adams,
how to do it.
He can do that. He's just got to learn how to do it, and he's got to be pimp-sized to learn it.
And there's an art to it, man. It doesn't happen overnight. He's going to get the. Yeah. Here's the biggest thing for me: the dude better be in condition.
Exactly.
You gotta be, like you said, pimp size thing. He's got to be in shape.
Ted Washington was never pimp size. He was just a man in there.
No, but the point is, and exactly right. You gotta be able to stand the rigors of being out there as much. This is not Georgia now, where you're playing whatever it was. 25%.
Well, he never had sacks. Yeah, he never had sacks. He never had sacks really.
Right, I'm saying, but that's over, man.
Yeah,
you got to get out there.
Let me answer a couple of questions here. Miguel Torres says, so D-Gun, why would you invest too much in defense? And then Cal Bundy says, KC's defense was trash, D-Gun. First of all, Miguel, you invest in a bunch of rookies that can play sooner rather than later because you're going to get long-term value out of them. You already have redshirt freshmen waiting in the wing who are going to have to step up. Okay, number one. Number two, if you use your first 3 or 4 picks on solid defensive players, if you get the right ones, you can drop and play them now. Kansas City already showed that, okay? You don't have to overspend. We keep sweating about, man, Hargrave ain't coming back, Bradbury ain't coming back. Well, Kansas City didn't worry about that. And to answer the second question, Kansas City's defense was not trash.
Yeah, far from
Kansas City's defense gave up less than 22 points a game. That's not trash to me. Now, overall stats, they were middle of the road defense, but they only gave up 107 yards on the ground rushing and 21.7 points a game. To me, I don't know. I watch a lot of football. You tell me, is that a trash defense?
They also had the second most sacks. They have a second-year stud linebacker in Bolton. Snead, some of their other younger pieces they have on the defensive side of the ball can play. They certainly, nobody's going to argue Kansas City's offense was better than their defense. Absolutely, no argument.
Question about it.
But the point is, you just have to read the room. You're going to take a little bit of a step back defensively. So your offense is just going to have to be that much better this year. And if the Eagles, as you said, Derek pointed out very well, if the offense stays essentially same, you're still pretty damn good, man. It's not like you need the offense all of a sudden to blow up. You need it to kind of stay what it was.
There you go.
Well, look, you say Tim Olian, like Tim Olian says right there, Davis is supposed to eat up blocks and allow linebackers to make plays.
This is where Nakobe and the young cats who are going to get their opportunity need to eat now.
That's exactly right.
That's why TJ Edwards had the year he had. He had a pretty good year.
There you go.
When you have guys that can run around and that's what, like Goose, everybody talks about Ray Lewis and Ray Lewis this and Ray Lewis that. You ask Ray Lewis why he ate the way he ate, he'll tell you every time.
That's right.
Sam Adams.
That's right.
It was Saragusa, them guys taking up the middle, clogging up the middle. And because they did that, he was able to run from sideline to sideline without getting touched to make plays. And now, he's a great player now, but he was untouched. It was hard trying to get off on a block. I tried to double team Saragusa for a while, and Saragusa would hold both guys like this, hold them just like this.
Well, let me jump on this. Coach Tarrant says, do you think Jamison Williams over Quez would have won the Super Bowl? I'm not sure what Jamison Williams was a first-round pick.
Right.
I don't know how the Eagles were getting him. You're saying it would take him over Jordan Davis?
Jordan Davis?
Okay, so here's what I think. I don't think you say Howie won it slow, non-impact. Well, I think Howie understood and the team understood that Jordan Davis wasn't going to play a ton this year.
Yep.
When you have Hargrave and you have Fletcher and you have everybody they knew that. So it wasn't some big surprise that he didn't get a lot of time.
Yeah. If he was going to, then Davis would have played a lot more and they wouldn't have brought back Fletch if they wanted him to play right then.
So part 2 of that is you're not going to draft Jameis Winston there because you've already the year before went first-round picks. You went Reagor, Devontae, back-to-back years, okay? And you traded for A.J. Brown. You weren't going to use a resource of a first-round pick there on Jamison Williams. And I actually think Jamison Williams this year is going to blow up coming off the injuries that he had. I like Jamison Williams.
Absolutely.
So I don't know that means you win a Super Bowl, Coach Terrence. I don't know that that's, one correlates necessarily to the other. So I think it was how he even said it at the podium the other day. He said, we viewed these guys, and Tone points this out in our private chat, as investments. That's how they viewed Jordan Davis. That's how they viewed Cam Jurgens. That's how they viewed Nakobe Dean, that they were going to pay dividends. It was but it wasn't going to be blooming right away. No, and they didn't have to because the Eagles had so many good players.
And I'm going to say, Robert M., you're right. All first-rounders should play immediately.
Sure.
I believe wholeheartedly in that.
Sure.
But this was an interesting case where they didn't mind Jordan Davis not playing because they brought Fletch back. They had Hargraves. They had guys there that can go to work, you know what I'm saying? So they picked them for long-term, and they also picked them for a reason, too. We had been a 4-down defense for so long. We didn't have a nose guard, a zero technique. We didn't have that player. So Howie picked him up so they in the transition from going from a 4-3 to a 3-4 type of defense. And in order to do that, I said it before, you have to have a boss nose, a guy right up in the middle of the defense who can handle being in the defense in the middle by themselves and flourish at that position. There's not a lot of guys that can go and play nose, head up, and control the line of scrimmage like that. That's why you got special people, like Saragusa. You got special people that can go in there. Ted Williams could just stop things up in there. You got to be a special type of guy. Do I think Davis can do that? I think Davis can do that.
I don't think people give Howie Roseman enough credit for not only looking into the present, but the foreseeable future.
Right.
In terms of how he put this team together.
Right.
I mean, he loaded up with frontline talent and was still able to draft guys that they're going to have to plug and play this year.
Right.
You know how many teams would love to be in a situation like that?
I know. It's a luxury. That's the thing. Those guys didn't get on the field. Like Cam Jurgens could flat out play. I will tell you that right now.
Yes.
He didn't get on the field because he had beasts in front of him.
Right.
Same thing with Jordan Davis. Same thing with the Kobe Dean. I think the Eagles had good linebackers, not great, but still good. That's why those guys didn't play last year.
Calcaterra is a luxury pick.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Luxury. He's gonna be I'm telling you right now, he's gonna be an H-back and he's gonna flourish at a fullback, tight end type of guy. He's gonna flourish. He's gonna be like 44 is in with the 49ers. Whatever his name is, I can't.
Jusek.
Yeah, and I still think Tyree Jackson is going to figure into the equation. If they can never keep him healthy, that 6'7" tight end.
Yes,
he can catch the ball. He's just been hurt. So I hope they don't give up on him yet. Now, 2 seasons we've been waiting to see what he can do, and he's been hurt more so than anything else. Now you got, with him hurt, you've had the Jack Stoles and the Calcaterras emerge, but I still like what he could possibly bring to the equation. But he's got to stay on the field and not in the tub.
Yeah. That's a good question, Coach Terry. Do you want George Pickens or Cam Jurgens? It does. You can't. With this organization, they're going to take Cam Jurgens all day and twice on Sunday because they believe in frontline offensive linemen and defensive linemen. They're going to go defensive because that's how you build championship teams.
Right. And the other thing is it's an unfair comp. Yeah. Let's see this year, because I think we're going to see him play guard. When Jurgens gets on the field now, he didn't get a chance to play last year. Pickens, I love Pickens, but you got to let them get on the field before you say one was the right move over and one was the wrong move. It's not a wrong move just because you didn't see him last year. If we're having the same conversation in 3 years and Jurgens can't get on the field at center or guard, 100%. Pickens would have been the right player to take. Just let's let it play out a little bit. I know we want everything like in 2 seconds, stick it in the microwave. Sometimes you got to cook it a little bit. Sometimes you got to get on the green egg like Gunner and let it go for a few hours.
Wait, say that again.
See, I worked that in there,
dude. That was a profound statement you just gave right there.
Green egg.
Barrett, you should follow suit more. You should embrace D-Gun instead of antagonizing D-Gun. You should, Barrett. I want you to take notes of what just happened here.
Oh, you left him speechless.
I want to say something.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. He incorporated green
Gunner,
egg.
be careful. He might just cut out again magically. I don't know.
I mean, that was smooth by you, Rob.
Profound statement,
green
man.
egg reference. Yes. Thank you.
Wow.
All right. All right. Let's come back and let's dig a little bit deeper into this.
When was the last time Barrett was speechless?
That was the first. We've almost been doing this a year. And
how the hell did you put green egg in? I'm just saying, like, you're a man off of D-Gun's heart now, man.
You know what? And
he's back in good graces with me now. Up until that moment, he was in the same gray area as you, Brooks. But right now, he's back in the light. He's back in the light again.
Let me further illustrate how brilliant I am. Let's take it one step further. Today is Dr. Seuss's birthday.
Yes.
He was born on this day in 1904.
Yes.
Wow.
What is his most famous book?
Green Eggs and Ham.
Wait. That is still my all-time favorite. And I'm glad you brought that. Yes. Here's the thing. When I was
you guys
a kid,
have both read to my wife's class.
Yes.
Dr. Seuss books.
When I was a kid, my mom bought me the entire set of Dr. Seuss books that were available, and through the years, obviously more have emerged.
Yeah.
To this day, my wife and I bought our kids Dr. Seuss books. Our grandkids, we now read the Dr. Seuss books. It is the only book that has withstood the test of time over the last 50 years. I was going to save it for the birthday segment, but now that you brought it up, do you know his books sold over 600 million copies. And before he died, this is now before he died.
Right.
When you think about what year he died in, was translated into more than 20 languages. That's how popular those books were.
Wow.
Second only to the Bible.
Yep.
Yep,
What an impact,
exactly.
man.
I'm not a heathen, dog. I'm not a heathen.
I never said I have my doubts.
You
about
have said that before. You have said that before.
Trish, would you say Barrett is a heathen? Trish?
He called me heathen.
She's got her headphones in,
Sis.
her earbuds in. I have to throw something at her to get her attention over there.
Hey,
I'm going to
she
ask her
knows.
during the break.
She's ignoring that question. Derek.
John
How dare you.
Dickerson, D-Gun's grandkids called him the Lorax. You know what? I got your Lorax, bro. I got your Lorax.
Right here.
Yeah, I got your Lorax for you.
All right, let's well, look, as good a news as there is on the offensive side, there's a lot of question marks defensively, with guys who could be leaving, with Sean Desai taking over. We'll get into the defense when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on this Thursday. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because knowing who to trust with your finances, yes, can be a very scary proposition. And I was in the front of that line for a very long time. But I could tell you from personal experience that someone I trust with my finances is Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, you look at your 401k, you're maybe not thrilled with what's going on there. Insurance review, you're not getting the bang for your buck for your insurance. You might have a business. You're trying to get your employee benefits off the ground. These are all the things that Jim can help you with. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollover with Jim, and I'll tell you, I couldn't be any happier. You will be too. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You can email him as well, Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's